Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is League Unlocked. Eric and Mark here with you guys, and we've reached it. It's the summit. We climbed all the way to the top. We have reached the top 5 of the top 20 players of all time. The elite of the elite, and the easiest part of this list to do, honestly.
This is the easiest part to do. This is the most fun part to do. And this is the part where everybody gets to pat themselves on the back, ourselves included, for getting this list all the way out to you guys. And give yourself a pat on the back for making it all the way from number 20 now to the glorious top 5.
And you could argue maybe a couple of the positions within these players. That's perfectly fine. But I'd be hard-pressed to name anyone outside of these guys into the top 5 based on what their careers have gotten to at this point. And we start at numero cinq, number 5. It is one of the Mount Rushmores of AD carries. We're talking about Deft, the man who dominated both the LPL and the LCK, 1,000+ kills in both regions, the only player to ever accomplish that.
An incredible legacy is what Deft has built for himself from the ADC position. When you're talking about marksman and you're thinking about the very pinnacle, the very peak of how you dominate, how you dish out that DPS, how you make sure you're the ones picking up all those quadra kills, all those penta kills. Hey, you watch Deft, you're going to learn a couple of things. My man is the ADC.
And people might say the main knock on him is you don't really have any deep runs at the World Championship. You don't have, he got top 4 on Samsung Blue way back 2014 before they got absolutely pounded by Samsung White, but he's never made it to the finals. That's the only time he's made it to semis. A lot of quarterfinal runs, mostly for him. He does have that 2015 MSI title, which is a big one because they were taking down SKT in that match. But it's not often that you would have said Deft underperformed on these international events. He was on some of these EDG rosters that disappointed as a whole, and we still pour one out for KT Rolster 2018 drawing IG in the quarterfinals.
And there's many opportunities for even, well-liked, well-storied ADCs when you're talking about this position and how you value and where you're putting the points. As you said, when you're looking at the results for Deft, sure, you do have that 2015 MSI, which is a very good one against Faker and SKT. But outside of that, it is those quarterfinals, semifinals appearances really internationally. And you're going, well, okay, but how about a guy like, Doublelift? Sure, he's not getting out of groups and there's that separation too. But even at that point, when you're talking about the individual performances and you're nitpicking through, only a handful of a guy who, again, is still a legend himself in Doublelift. You're picking only a handful of those international performances going, okay, not the core issue, not the problem. You get the pass, you get a pass. You're looking at Defs and my man, how many times would you be able to look at it and go, you know what? That's the weak link or even the second weak link on that roster in those situations. It wasn't happening.
Samsung, EDG, KT, Dragon X, every one of those, he's playing with a different support, different team completely around him. And every time he was at the very top of his position worldwide, not just whatever region he was playing in. And one of the most insane stats you saw on his board. This is craziest of any player. 38-3 career record on Jinx. That is otherworldly, man. I don't even understand that.
And that's also one of my favorite things about getting, one of the treats that really is that you have been able to enjoy of watching Deft's career are those Jinx games, are those special games where you see that champion get locked in and you instantly are reaching for your phone to get a tweet out saying, guys, watch this. Everyone get in on this, man, because this is the type of performance. These are the type of plays that you talk about, that you dream of when you're thinking about League of Legends. Hey, and you said it, that win rate on the Jinx, that is exactly the type of champions, the type of hype that Deft generates.
Pretty much any of those 41 games, there's at least one highlight play that you're going to get out of Deft throughout it, which is either a game-changing team fight or just outright outplay that he's pulled. Incredibly clutch, obviously the pentakills, the specific one in the LPL finals against LGD. There's just so many insane mechanical highlights that you can talk about for Deft, and they have stretched every new AD carry that's come into the meta. He immediately gets a highlight with them, whether it's Kaisa, whether it's Aphelios. Doesn't matter. He picks them up pretty quickly. He survives all metas.
And how many, how many ADCs, how many players can you really look at and go, you know what? They're so highly regarded in both regions. When you talk about how he's looked at in the LPL, what the memories are of him and his playing time there, all extremely positive. And then you look at the LCK, again, a legend there as well. Two regions loving this man and what he's been able to do League of Legends wise. Hey, more than enough for me to jump on that bandwagon.
Yeah, the Korean Exodus of 2015, Deft was, he's going to the LPL to retire, right? Oh, 6+ years later, he's still going strong in the professional scene. Number 4 on the list is another man who has dominated the Rift for many years and done it in the LCK and the LPL. A shorter stint in the LCK, but we're talking about Rookie, who did pick up an LCK title before he came over to the LPL. And I think with Rookie, a lot of people don't know about the 2015 to 2017 era because IG wasn't that good at that point. But even when they were struggling and suffering as an organization, Rookie was still one of the best mid laners in the world.
It's the reason why this past year, if when you're paying attention to when IG would struggle, there was issues with the Shy, Ning, with bot lane, whatever was going wrong. You know what wasn't ever going wrong for IG, let alone this year or the previous years? It's been Rookie's performance. It's been what you've been able to expect from him and what you haven't been able to expect from any player other than someone to the caliber of Rookie. That's what he's brought to the table for IG. One of the very best to ever play the game. As you said, it had success in the LCK. And then a lot of people would miss out on those years, the early years with IG and how it went. And again, still, I can tell you what, you didn't miss much, because if you've watched Rookie at all in the last year, that's the same high level of play, same level of performance that he has been able to give them consistently.
And I mean, obviously 2 to 3 years of being a dominant mid laner, but not really winning anything. Hard to get onto this list, but then 2018 rolls around, you get the almost undefeated back-to-back LPL splits, you get a world championship, you get an LPL title in spring, even though they had the disappointing showing at MSI in 2019, losing to Team Liquid. There's still now enough on the resume for Rookie. Throw in another semifinals at 2020 Worlds that you absolutely have got to propel him into the top 5 of this list.
And the word that I was, drilling on just a couple seconds ago, the consistency that Rookie can bring. What's not only the consistency, it's the consistency that's at an elite level is what simply separates Rookie from so many people. You look at the performances, everybody's talking about it. When IG was heading to Worlds again, 2018, people looking at, okay, well, how do you rank all these players? Where are they? Who have I heard of? Again, not a lot of success between those periods of times outside of that year. And everybody is saying Rookie. Rookie is the guy because he's been the consistent. We're now seeing the strength. Now you got to be keeping your eyes on him. And then since then, when again, a lot more people are now aware and, oh my God, we got to pay attention to Rookie. Now I'm putting my expectations. I saw you win Worlds. What are you going to do for me now? And since then, still, you're talking about Rookie not disappointing, being the one to carry the load and being the shining star for IG.
And the theme with all of these top 5 players and why they're here is you talk about consistency. It's not just being one of the best in their region. All 5 of these guys have been, at the very least, in the conversation or consensus considered the best in their role in the world. And not just for one split or 1 year. Multiple times throughout their career, they have all been in that conversation, and Rookie is absolutely no exception to that rule.
It's one of those ones where you look at the recent performances, and we talked about this just a day ago, really, with Smeb, and talking about how, he was at some points ranked ahead of Faker by a lot of people in the, best player in the world type of rankings. Different scenario, given what had happened, obviously, in the 2-year gap between 16 and 18, as far as for Faker and SKT's results. But still, that is the conversation that you were starting to have about Rookie, and specifically about him as a mid laner as well.
Top 3 now, and you want to talk about best in your position. It wasn't a conversation for a few years. When it came to support, it was Mata. And if you were talking about anybody else, you're just flat out wrong. 2014, and even again times with RNG and KT, you're talking about multiple teams where this guy's in the conversation for best support in the world, the only support to win MVP at the World Championship, and everybody talks about it. One of the most cerebral and smartest players we've ever seen. People love to say, basketball IQ. We're throwing in the League of Legends IQ, and Mata was off the charts.
Oh, what a legend Mata is. This is a fun one to talk about. And a lot of people owe themselves playing the game of League of Legends, loving League of Legends, and even loving professional League of Legends to someone like Mata and what he's been able to do. You can go through every position in the game. You can find your exciting top laners. Oh, man, there's a jungle playing some carries. And hey, yeah, there's, I love me some Faker. We just talked about Rookie. You can take your pick about what mid laner you like to follow. But then you had the bot lane, and it was always about, hey, the ADC, the guy picking up the kills. That's always the flashy one. That's the one that people want to be rooting for. That's the guy that's doing everything that matters. Then you watched what Mata would do. Then you watched him paired along anybody else, and it instantly realized that, oh my God, it doesn't matter who the other guy is playing on his ADC. It doesn't matter who his support is and how good they are, because the other guy's Mata, and that's the very best there is, and that's what we came to know and love and see from him. Man, those RNG days are some of my favorite games to watch.
Remember, he won an LPL title with RNG, got to MSI with them, and it wasn't Uzi. He wasn't even playing alongside Uzi. It was Whoosh. That's right. You remember Whoosh? No, you don't.
No. but you remember Mata, and that's the thing to say. And then even to that point that we were going to get to, talking about playing alongside the legend, the master that is Uzi. And you're still, a lot of those games, looking at it and going, oh my God, Mata just destroyed them in lane. Yep. How could he do that? And then, of course, Mr. Uzi right there to pick up those kills, no problem.
Yep. Mr.
Mata's
President,
career.
Yes.
Exactly. But that's the thing. Mata's career, his skill is so much more than just those glory days, those highlight days of playing alongside Uzi and getting those championships. As you said, championships before that, and then even after that, still showing how amazing he was.
Yeah, and it's most impressive to me whenever guys are able to keep that level of play on multiple teams in different regions. Yeah, there was the Vici days with Mata where he's playing J support and just straight up trolling.
That's a difference. Yeah.
I don't think that was a case of him not being good anymore. Maybe unmotivated, not wanting to play there. Fair enough. Then he gets onto RNG, and obviously they have an incredible run at Worlds MSI, winning the spring split. He gets to this KT Rolster team, which, by the way, you want to say KT wasn't a super team? Deft, Mata, and Smeb. That's 3 of the top 6 we've done on the same team.
You throw in old man score. Oh, you got yourself a good
4
team.
of the top 10. Okay.
Oh, yeah, no problems. I have no problems with that squad. And if you had Mata as your support, you had no problems in lane. That was the partner that you wanted to have alongside you. Hey, you had to be doing something wrong to come out of lane with a deficit alongside your boy Mata.
Can't wait to see him continue to evolve as a coach, because we know he's the perfect player to step into that coaching role and has done a pretty admirable job so far, regardless of what team he's on. Number 2 on the list, we've talked about him quite a bit already. He played with number 3, which is why it was a pretty insane bot lane when you had Uzi and Mata. And Uzi, I mean, what can you say? There's been so many pieces on him that are comparing him to Faker, where he is the legend, the icon of an entire region, and he absolutely was that for the LPL for 7 years, basically.
And the best thing about it is thinking about them, as icons, legends, everything you want to put to that title. And then you realize that still, even looking at the masterclass that they would put on, the performances that they would do, the style, the personality, completely different. And that's what you got with Uzi. We just did the whole thing talking about Mata and pumping him up and saying, hey, man, even alongside a star like Uzi, a lot of the times you're looking at the performance of Mata. That's not meant to take anything, my man, away from Uzi and what he was doing. And some of those performances, some of the longevity of the performances and level of play that you saw from Uzi, unheard of in the scene. When you're talking about players that have done what Uzi has done, you're talking about Uzi, because that's it. There is no second Uzi. There is nobody that compares in that situation. I said my man Def was the ADC when you're thinking about it. Sure, that's okay. He can have that position. When you're thinking about the guy that's picking up all the kills, it's going to be an absolute monster when he hits his 3-item power spike, 4-item power spike. The guy that dominates those 25, 30-minute team fights and later. That's Uzi.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's hitting 4 items at 25 minutes because he's averaging about 14 CS every 10 minutes in that game.
The pioneer of the funnel, without even calling it a funnel, because it's just all going to Uzi.
Protect the president. I mean, early on in his career, it was these lackluster Starhorn Royal Club teams that he would drag to the finals at Worlds. That's still another crazy stat for me. 4 different players around him in back-to-back years, and he gets to the finals. No one else will ever match that, I don't think.
I don't see that happening. And then even when you're talking about, again, in this type of players, this type of rarefied air, you're looking for those signature things, the things that can separate you. And we all know the thing that separates Uzi from so many other people, the Vayne. The Vayne is the famous one that everyone wants to talk about. Of course, yeah, the Sivir. We all know the Sivir that just scales up and is a monster. But the skill, the dancing around, the kiting on Vayne that Uzi is able to perform and demonstrate that level of mastery, you don't see that very often, if at all. And from someone like Uzi to do it so often with that type of favorite pick, it was one of the treats to get to watch that.
And if you're saying number 2, he doesn't have a world championship, how can you be there? The 2018 year that he had, where he was finally picking up trophies, a couple LPL ones and the MSI one, even though got ousted early in quarters at Worlds, he still has enough hardware. And back-to-back World Finals, we were praising Caps for doing the very same thing. You got to give credit to Uzi for doing it, even if it was earlier in the years. And by the way, 2016, 2017, they lost to SKT. And 2017, they were one ban of a certain gargoyle away from getting back to the finals.
I can promise you to get back. They were going to get back, and they were going to be in those finals at home. If it wasn't for that if you banned Galio in one of those 5 games, I promise you they're getting their way through. They're finding their way through. And it's a different story. But the one that we are talking about, the story that did happen, of course, you said it. There's more than enough accolades. There's more than enough in his trophy cabinet still, even without a world championship title, to consider him at this level. And guys, you've been paying attention to anything we've been talking about with all the players beforehand. It's not all about that trophy. It's not all about just the championships that you can add. When you've watched Uzi's entire career, you've watched all these important matches, all these, game-breaking situations, Uzi passes the test time and time again. Not only passing the test again, though, but making your jaw drop to the floor and going, how does he keep doing it? How does he keep getting away with it? How is someone so good? He's Uzi. That's your answer, my man.
That's all you got to say. Uzi in at number 2, well-deserving. And with that, it's number 1. The number 1 player on our list of all time. You probably knew who it was going to be before we even started this list. Just some whisperings of what would be. You want to talk about winning and domination, just the sheer force on the riff. Number 1, it's got to be I'm a Cutie Pie. The captain of the Dream Team meme stream. I mixed that up. There's too many rhyming words, but the GOAT of NA, right, Mark? I'm a Cutie Pie, number 1. No? Face palms only?
I can't go with it, man. I can't sign off on that.
Of course it's Faker, guys. Faker's number 1.
There we go.
If you're putting anyone else, you're doing it for clicks or to make people mad. That's it.
There's no other acceptable answer. And this is considering how much we love this top 5 that we've just talked about and how legendary these guys are. It doesn't matter, though, because of Faker and what he's accomplished in his career, everything that he has done for League of Legends, for SKT, for Korea as a country himself. That's one of the crazy things to talk about, how successful, how important he has been. When you're talking about the big icons from Korea, the ones that they want to be putting, hey, SKT, we're rolling out a big time, marketing campaign for our phones. Who are we gonna get? We're gonna get some soccer players. We're gonna get some of our K-pop stars
and Faker.
And we're gonna roll Faker. We're gonna get that teenager that plays video games. That's the level that Faker has brought this to. Absolutely deserving as our number one.
He hasn't just grown League of Legends. He's grown esports, right? Like
Yeah,
he's transcended the game that he plays.
You know, I have a lot of friends that aren't in tune to esports, that are, you know, the quote unquote meatheads just into regular traditional sports. Oh yeah. But hey, even they know about somebody called Faker. They know about some scrawny kid from Korea that they've heard about as the unkillable Demon King. And they go, what is this all about? How is he that level? And just tell him, my man's Faker. And you show him some of the clips and they go, oh, okay, that's a little bit different. And that's one of the favorite things about, we talked about it a lot on this list, having signature plays, having those things. Faker, of course, has a whole catalog of signature and highlight plays that you can show people. But one of the best things is, even with a game as complicated as League of Legends, that is, you know, what lights am I looking at? Why is this character, why is this tree attacking this tiger? You know, all these type of things that you could have from showing a boomer some League of Legends. You show them a clip of Faker and they're going to go, okay, that guy, he just styled on that other guy. What happened? Why is he able to do that? And the problem is there's no real answer other than just that's Faker. And we talked about it with Uzi. That's those answers. These guys just can come up with whatever they want and how they play, what they're able to do. The history that Faker has with League of Legends, the champion. My man has a professional win playing Yi mid lane. Come on. Yeah. How could he not be number one?
Doesn't have on his Tarek, though. With the Tarek mid against you. Doesn't quite have that one. Yeah, I mean, Faker's featured in every promotional piece of material that Riot's going to do from now until the end of time. All the accolades, I mean, you can list them off. We already did 3 Worlds, 2 MSIs. The 9 LCK titles is obviously insane. And with those 9 titles, 6 different top laners, 6 different junglers, 380 carries, and 4 different supports that he's won with.
And it's one of those things where when we talk about him, we hype him up, but, you know, again, the unkillable Demon King, right? You know, these type of things. At some point, I feel it does a disservice to Faker from recognizing that, you know what? At some point, he's mortal, my man. He's a regular dude, and he's been able to do this. And as you said, gone through all those roster changes, been able to handle a meteoric rise to success, you know, and celebrity.
But he's still humble. He has zero ego.
Right. And at a level that we've never seen in esports, video games, anything of that nature. And he still is respected, classy, everything else with Faker.
He just wants to read a book and eat some broccoli, man. That's all he wants.
Yeah. How many positive things can we say about Faker, and how many will we say until he retires, which I hope is never. We've just seen some retirements this offseason. I never want to see Faker retire. I want him out there.
He'll forever. never get bumped from this number 1 spot.
It's almost impossible, I think, especially the way the game has evolved, the way the global scene has evolved as far as winning international championships. It's so hard, and it's so much more than just the individual at this point to get it done. And yes, that's not saying that, you know, Faker's trophies and championships weren't without team efforts and obviously the coaching staffs. And I think that's something in the recent years of SKT has been overlooked, was the impact of the coaching staff and management from previous years on how they managed to unlock the better levels of play from these players. But as you said, it's someone like Faker, the trophies, the championships, the memories, the plays. For me, nobody's topping Faker.
Faker, number 1 on the list in our hearts forever and always. That's it today for League on Lock. Eric and Mark here with you guys as always. Thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you on the Flippity Flip.